It is week 0 of the college football season. We are back with our best bets and picks. If you're new to calling our shot, I'm Austin, joined by Logan. If you see us in our normal MLB videos, you know exactly who we are. But we got some college football picks coming inbound. It's week 0. We're just amped up. College football is back. Now, we won't lie to you. The slate's not the best one that you ever find. Probably arguably the worst slate you'll find. But it's college football. Of course, we're going to be a little bit of a degenerate and bet on some football this weekend. Now let's bring up our record from last year. Not too shabby. I went 40-31. Logan, I believe you're 32-34. Nothing to complain about. Hey, we'll take a positive record over 500. Nothing to be ashamed of. Now, college football, we would argue, is probably the hardest sport to bet. So, obviously, as always, like we like to preach, do your own research. We're betting on kids out here. So, there's going to be a lot of randomness that's going to go down. You're going to see some missed extra points, missed receivers, fumbles left and right. College football is wild. That's why it's so fun to watch. But we're going to be sweating out these bets with you. And Logan, let's just hop into our favorite picks. I'm going to start with one of probably the nastiest picks we will have all year long, as I'm going to UMass, the Minutemen. I'm taking them plus 7.5 on Saturday. It's about minus 120 on FanDuel. Obviously, I'd love to get that plus 7.5. Some books did have plus 7. Obviously, we know if you watch football, a touchdown is sometimes, 7-point differential is a big number in football. So I love to get that plus 7.5. Maybe if I have to lay, the minus 120 as opposed to minus 105, I'll do it any day of the week. But it's obviously ugly. And my first pick of the year, back in a 1-11 team from last year. And I don't expect anyone to come out here and back the Minutemen on Saturday. Exactly where you want to be. In my opinion, you'll see people come out of it. You see a lot of people just want to back the very easy. When it looks too easy, it's normally not the case in college football. And I think the Minutemen have a chance here. Now, you look at their new quarterback, it's going to be Tyson Humachan. That's not how his name looks like if you look at his the back of his jersey when you watch this game. But I think he has a chance to be pretty decent here. And honestly, he can't be any worse than they were last year. He's a transfer, started in the first, well, didn't start, but was at Clemson his first couple years, Georgia Tech. Now he's transferring here. And it's not just him transferring. It's actually a lot of people. I mean, they were in the transfer portal working hard, and I don't blame them. They were 1-11 last year. They brought in 8 starters on defense. They also have a lot of new guys on their on the offense, improved skill position, including the quarterback position, which they didn't really have any consistency last year. And I think this is a team that's going to come here and surprise some people. And you look at on the other side, you got New Mexico State, a team that really struggled out of the gates last year. You look at them; they went 0-4 out of their first 4 games, losing by 11, 38, 7, and 59. Would it surprise me at all if they overlook this 1-11 team? Yeah, it would. They'd be like, oh, we got this 1-11 cupcake coming into our home stadium. Yeah, we'll overlook them. But I think the Aggies, they're going to overlook this in the Minutemen. I think they got a chance. I'm not going to say they're going to win this one outright, but I think they have a chance to keep this one close. You also see an over-under at only, 45.5. I did lean the under, and I think the under would favor a team like the Minutemen and UMass. I think they got a better chance here. Give me the plus 7.5. I know it's ugly back in a team that went 1-11 last year, but I don't think anyone will be on them on Saturday. I happily will. Well, maybe not happily, but I will be on them this weekend. But Logan, your first pick of the year, I heard you're going to Ireland. What you got in that game?
I am going to Ireland, and there's a bit of a theme with this pick, right? I'm taking the Fighting Irish, minus 10.5 in the first half spread, minus 130 odds on FanDuel, currently your best value there. Now, this first half spread is kind of an interesting one because it's not a full game spread. I'm just interested in the first half because I like Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, to come out strong and cover the first half spread. Unlike full game where the back door can be left open, in the first half, usually the more dominant football team can come out and assert their dominance. Hopefully, that's what we see with Notre Dame today. Obviously, on paper, they are the better team. They look like the better team. And if you're a rookie to bet in college football, you can just bet the more dominant team a lot of the times and be right, because sometimes these athletes are just different at these big time programs. In their 2022 matchup, Notre Dame was up 35-13 at half, and then actually it was Navy that came back and made that game a close one. So I kind of like what Notre Dame did last year. Obviously, that was a different offense, different team entirely. This year, I'd argue I love their offense even more because they have a new quarterback, Sam Hartman, the transfer from Wake Forest. He's super talented. You're going to hear the broadcast probably talking about him, singing his praises all day long. In 2022, Hartman was amazing. 3,700 yards passing, 38 touchdowns. He was just one of those gunslinger type quarterbacks, and I definitely think he can light up this Navy defense. I don't really think they're going to be all that prepared for him right out of the gate, especially with a first-year head coach, Brian Newberry, for Navy. What does this program look like out of the gate for Navy? I can't imagine it's going to be all that polished. With an explosive Notre Dame offense, I look for them to come out and just assert their dominance against a Navy defense that ranked 95th in passing yards allowed last year. look, I mean, if they get in a track meet, if Notre Dame gets in a track meet with Navy, Navy cannot keep up, right? Especially with the offensive game plan that Navy has. The service academies like to run the ball, ground and pound, control clock. Well, if Notre Dame's front defense is strong in this one and they win the battle in the trenches, I definitely think Notre Dame comes out and covers that first half spread for us. But Austin, what else you got for us?
Yeah, I'm going to a team that I actually backed a couple times last year, and they were pretty good for me. One of their best seasons since like 2011, winning over 10 games. Going to the Ohio Bobcats, taking them +3, which is currently about -118 on DraftKings. You'll see a couple books at +2.5. I don't need to tell you it's important to get that +3 for a chance at a push. College football does have weirder scores than the pros with random things happening left and right, but I obviously want to take that +3. And let's talk about this one because I'm actually starting off the year back in 2 road dogs. Not necessarily something I normally do too often, but it's the first week of the year. There's going to be some volatility. These two teams might have completely different records, and you might be saying, why was the Ohio Bobcats underdogs in this spot at the end of the year? And I think that might be hopefully what we're getting in here. But I just think Ohio's better than the San Diego Aztecs. I think that's what San Diego State Aztecs. I think they're just better, and they have the much better quarterback, and I think that's going to translate to them potentially winning this game outright. But I'll take the +3 for safety. Curtis Rourke returns off a ACL tear. Obviously, it was a long return, but he appears to be 100% healthy and ready to go. And I bring up his name because he's the engine of this Bobcats offense. He's their quarterback, and they need him to be out there and play well. I mean, that's when they were at their best. And you look at him last year before getting injured, 69% completion rate, 25 touchdowns. My biggest thing, 4 interceptions. This was a guy that was not turning over the ball. And if I want to trust a quarterback, it's going to be some guy that doesn't turn over the ball, doesn't make those mistakes, and gives his team a chance to win. But it's not only that. We also see a lot of returning starters for this offense. Their offensive line made up of mostly seniors. Love to see that. They also have their number 1 running back, ran for over 1,000 yards. He's back. 3 of the top 4 receivers are also back. So they have some chemistry on the offense. I think they'll be able to put up some points. It comes down to their defense if they can make stops, and I think they'll be able to make stops, but I also think the Aztecs just won't be able to score. This is an Aztecs offense that struggled all year long. Their backbone was their defense, and they lost a lot of their front 7, so I think Ohio will be able to run the football against them, and I'm just not scared of the Aztecs offense. If this gets into a track meet, which you have an over-under at 49 or 50 or so, I think that favors the Ohio Bobcats in a big way. Jalen Maiden is expected to start for this Aztecs offense, and last year, below 60% completion, 12 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, not a big dual threat guy where he's running for 500 yards, ran for about 230 yards last year in a bunch of his starts. So at the end of the day, I think the Aztecs offense will be able to not be able to keep up with this Ohio Bobcats offense. I think Ohio has a good chance of winning this game outright, trying to build off of that big time year last year. I think they're going to be able to do it behind Curtis Rourke returning for the team. Give me the Ohio Bobcats +3. I think that they got a good chance of winning that one outright, which are about +115, +120 on the money line, but I'll take the +3 for a little bit of safety, although I do hope they win it outright for us. But Logan, you got another pick plus a value pick. What are you going to go with this weekend?
Yeah, for my next pick, I'm going with a total pick, and I'm going to UTEP versus Jacksonville State. I'm taking the over 53.5 total points in this one, -112 odds on FanDuel, currently your best value there. Now, of course, with a total bet, it's going to fluctuate all up and down. I've seen that go 40 or 54, 53.5. 53.5, I'll take it at that number. In this pick'em, because the spread in this game's a pick'em, I still think the over in the total is the best play in this one. Jacksonville State's making their Conference USA debut. They should come out and put on a show, right? Especially in front of their crowd. I expect them to come out and be strong offensively. We look at in 2022, obviously they were playing in a different conference that year, but Jacksonville State still put up 40 plus points in 6 games last year. So this is a capable offense, right? And then on the other side, we got UTEP. They have 4 returning offensive linemen. Quarterback Hardison returns from last year, so they've got some familiarity up front, which I think is kind of big when you're betting an over. I want familiarity up front, and especially with the signal caller at quarterback. Look at Jacksonville State; they do have some familiarity on offense too. Anwar Lewis, the running back, he averaged 7 yards per carry last year. You got quarterback Zion Webb. He's a senior. He ran for 647 yards, 13 touchdowns, and threw for 10 touchdowns. So he's a dual threat quarterback. And you know what? I don't mind that in a game like this. I hope it definitely has track meet written all over it, because the way I'm reading this game, I'm reading track meet. I expect a lot of points to be scored early and often in this game. Look at last year, UTEP's defense, 72nd in scoring defense and 96th in yards per play allowed. I talk a lot about the yards per play allowed because in college football, you need to get those big explosive chunk plays to really cover and over. especially with the new rule changes this year with the clock stoppages on first down. I expect there to be a lot of points scored, all throughout this game. Look at Jacksonville State. I just think they're going to be able to move the ball up and down the field, get those explosive plays, and I think UTEP will be able to assert their will offensively as well. I just don't think Jacksonville State's going to provide, a just steel curtain of a defense. So I think the over is the play in that one. Of course, first week of the season, we're trying to forecast point totals, but I still think it's a really good bet to make in that one. But speaking of good bets to make, I also have a value pick in this one. Something that's a nice plus value price. I'm going to the San Jose State game versus USC, and I'm taking San Jose State over 2.5 team total touchdowns. Plus 145 odds on DraftKings, currently your best value there. Now, I've never made a bet like this before, specifically asking for a touchdown type bet. Normally, if I'm picking a team total, it's just a point total. But value's the name of the game here, right? You get the plus value because, field goals does you no good in this one. With the full game total of 66.5 and San Jose State being 31-point underdogs, finding a value spot in this game is pretty tough, but I do really like the value in this spot because San Jose State could find themselves looking up at the scoreboard down, 28, 35 points really quick in this one. Field goals don't help you when you're down a huge margin like that against USC. And I think their offense is more than capable of coming back and putting up some touchdowns on the board in this one. You look at Chevan Cordero, he's back for his 6th season. He's been in college football forever. Last year he threw for 3,251 yards and 23 touchdowns last year. So, I mean, over 3,000 passing yards. That's pretty solid. That's a guy I want, leading the offensive attack for the Aztecs. And we look at in 2022, San Jose State offense. I said Aztecs, Spartans. I have San Diego State on my head. San Jose State offense, 30th in passing yards last year. So this was a team that actually did know how to, have a decent passing attack. And then look at the front five for San Jose State. They should be better than they were back in 2022. They have 4 returning O-linemen up there. So again, hopefully they're able to protect Cordero, give him a little bit of time to throw. Look at even running back, Kyrie Robinson, he's a senior, led the team with 752 yards, 10 touchdowns. And Cordero, we know he's a dual threat quarterback. He can easily take off. He can extend drives and hopefully put us in the red zone to where we're going for touchdowns and not field goals. Again, if San Jose State finds themselves down big, 3 touchdowns, not a ton to ask for, especially if USC lets their foot off the brake. Because honestly, USC's defense doesn't scare me a ton. I mean, last year we look at them 94th in scoring, 108th in passing yards allowed, and 124th in yards per play allowed. They gave up all sorts of points last year. Of course, that's because their offense was as good as they are. The name of their game was just simply outscore you. So I definitely think in this one, USC might not be all that interested in playing defense. The tackling might be bad. 3 touchdowns in a 4-quarter game. Austin, I don't know about you, but I like that as a decent value play.
No, I mean, I agree with you. Their regular team total is about 17.5. So if you don't have a DraftKings, that'd probably be our next pivot. But I don't know if you really want to take that. I'd rather get the plus 150. Then I think that line is like plus 104. So in order to hit that, they're probably going to have to score, 3 touchdowns. So I think it's a really good one. Obviously, got a lot of guys returning. I like trusting a senior quarterback back for his 6th season. I mean, he's seen it all. So hopefully he can get it done. But those are our favorite picks of the week. As always, it is week 0. So take it slow. There's only, 6-7 games on. Next week 1 of the college football season, we have a full slate of action. So let us know your favorite picks down below for week 0. We will see you guys back for week 1, which will always be posted on Fridays in the afternoon. Let's have a great day. Let's sweep the card. Let's cash a value pick, and we'll see you guys back next week for some more picks and in our normal daily MLB videos and other videos popping up on the channel. We appreciate you guys as always. Austin, Logan signing out. See you guys in the next one. Peace.